Hi, I'm Ruvim, or Ru for short. Many people have a predetermined idea about my life without actually getting to know me, so I thought I would properly introduce myself and share my story. I grew up in a gifted family. My dad was a former worship leader and my mom is a designer, and all my siblings are actually musically and creatively inclined. But growing up, I was not very popular in school, church, or wherever I went. I actually struggled to make friends because I was simply different and couldn't fit in. This has led to a long-term struggle with social anxiety, so I spent most of my time at home. With English being my second language, my speech impediment didn't really help either. When I was in school, I'd often drift into my own world, writing songs in my head, doodling and writing poetry on the corner of my tests. And after school, when everyone went to go hang out, I stayed home, immersed in music and art. I'd spend hours and hours every day playing the piano until the ridges of my fingers wore off, or wrote and drew so much until my hands ached in school the next day. There were also times where I'd run off into the forest singing to the trees because the echoes reminded me of having a friend. Fast forwarding, when I discovered social media, I started posting covers, original songs, and art on YouTube and TikTok. And then by 2019, after my American Idol audition, I amassed over 200,000 followers across all platforms. But sooner or later, the content shifted from being passionate about my music to becoming a persona I did not even recognize, which has caused me to have somewhat of an identity crisis and get into deeper isolation. I still turn to music. I even signed with an indie label and began working on my first album, Ruvim. Although I'm proud of the work, I wasn't proud of who I was at the time, because then I was substituting all of my human connection with social media attention. It was getting so bad that I began altering my appearance for another view or another like. My eating habits changed. I was dyeing my hair every single color of the color palette, and I was playing an exaggerated character rather than being myself. And all of that desperation for attention has overshadowed my passion for creating. It got so bad that I stepped down from social media without the opportunity to hype up and promote my album more. Fast forwarding 6 months, I moved to Washington and I began noticing that the pieces that didn't belong began to wither away, and I was becoming free of my struggles. I began healing and rediscovering myself, and I started taking my music seriously again, and I returned to creating music-related content. Even though I made friends, I still felt unseen in my true aspirations. And during the 2 years in Washington, I worked on an album about my healing journey. I called it Modern Art. This album tells a story about turning your experiences into a work of art. I wanted to make this project in a way where anyone could interpret the songs in whatever ways they wanted to. I'm so excited to share it on June 7th. I hope it resonates with the listeners, and I hope it helps them feel validated. Because when words can't speak, art speaks louder.